Hello, it is 9 p.m. in Djibouti. It's time to English New Edition, and for tonight's headline we have the return of the President of the Republic to the capital, Djibouti. Concerning international scene, the balance sheet worsens at least 11 deaths at the Hurricane Michael. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, returned today Friday in the middle of the evening the country at the end of the state visit of 28 hours that, at the invitations of his Equator counterpart, Mr. Teodoro Obiang Nguema, he performed in Malabo, the capital of this country. President Guelleh's summit meetings with his Equatorial Guinean counterpart was the most important event of the Djibouti leader state visit to the country. This meeting allowed the two heads of state to identify together area of cooperation and win-win exchange for the two nations with many similarities. It should be recalled that this working between the two presidents resulted in the adoption of a series of cooperation agreements, including an agreement providing for the mutual exemptions of visa for holders of diplomatic and service of passports. After the first days dedicated to meeting and summit of the two presidents, the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, went to the Guinean Parliament to attend an extraordinary meeting which has 100 members of Parliament with 20 women elected for 5 years. On his arrival, the President and his delegation were greeted by strong acclamations of the Assembly. The speakers of the Parliament welcomed the President Guelleh and his delegation. The visit of the President is historic to the elected representative of the peoples, and it coincides with the 50th anniversary of Equatorial Guinea. The President of the Republic gave a speech in Parliament to congratulate the parliamentarian and for the warm welcome, as well as the modern infrastructure that projects towards a better future. He praised the political maturity and stability, as well as the existence of living democracy in Equatorial Guinea. After his speech in the Parliament, President EOJ signed the Parliament book. President of the Parliament of Equatorial Guinea to speak at the participation in the extraordinary meeting this Thursday, 11 October, the coming of President Djibouti for an official visit in Malabo and participation in the extraordinary meeting is with a strong estimate of President Gele to the peoples and parliament of Equatorial Guinea. He wished welcome to the President and the delegations who accompanied. During its interventions at the extraordinary meetings of the Assembly of Equatorial Guinea, the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, thanked the honor to participate at this important time, which is a strong symbol for inceptionist dynamism in the partnership between the two nations. Listen to the President.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Monsieur le Président de la Chambre des députés, Honorable Gaudensio Moab Messou, Honorable député de la République de Guinée équatoriale.
First and foremost, this is an honor for me to be here today in this honorable hemicycle emanating from the will of the Equatorial Guinean people to address you, ladies and gentlemen, during my first visit official in this beautiful country of Equatorial Guinea. I would first like to thank the President of the Republic of Equatorial Guinea, my brother, His Excellency Mr. Obiang Nguema Mbasogo, for the kind invitations he extended to me, and for the warm welcome and fraternal hospitality being reserved for my person and my delegation since our arrival on the soil of Equatorial Guinea. I am all the more happy to be here with you as your country is celebrating the 50th anniversary of its independence. Moments of memories and joy that have the honor to share with the Equatorial Guinean people. Allow me to express to the members of this assembly and through them to all the people of Guinea, Equatorial Guinea, our most sincere congratulations for the 50th anniversary of the independence of Equatorial Guinea, and to wish them my personal name and the name of the people and from the government of the Republic of Djibouti our best wishes for peace, stability and prosperity. The achievement of Equatorial Guinea today compared to the situations prevailing at independence are enormous and deserve to be applauded. Your country has modern infrastructure worthy of an emerging country and capable of propelling it toward new horizon of development. New roads crisscross the countries from east to west. The country, all these achievements could not have been achieved without the precious support of the Equatorial Guinean Parliament. The political lineage of Member of Parliament with the support of the Equatorial Guinean people has made your country known for several decades as an era of stability and prosperity. This is proof, if need be, of the existence of a living and active democracy in Equatorial Guinea at the service of the well-being of the people, the development of the country, and the preservation of the higher interests of the nation. Your country has also been the champion of Pan-Africanism and African solidarity by making available to our country its resources for the promotion of African causes. The hosting of the African Union Summit as well as major sporting events with pride as Africans. Djibouti shares its Pan-Africanism with Equatorial Guinea and also conceives that the emergence of Africa can only be achieved in an open and economically integrated continent and not in a continent where economies as large as themselves are self-sufficient. Therefore, our two countries continue to nurture the will and ambition to be at the forefront of all initiatives aimed at greater African integration. The Continental Free Trade Area, the Single European Air Africa, through a free movement of goods and people. All these challenges and promising prospects for Africa will undoubtedly contribute to the development of a peaceful, integrated and prosperous continent. During the recent state visit of the President of the Republic of Equatorial Guinea to Djibouti and during my current visit, our two countries have signed several agreements to strengthen our bilateral cooperation. These agreements, which include political, economic, and cultural cooperation, as well as the encouragement of mutual protection of investment and the free movement of persons, are likely to open up new opportunities for trade and cultural exchanges, as well as experience and know-how between our two peoples. After having been brilliantly elected as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, Equatorial Guinea has been a member of this prestigious institution since the beginning of this year. Your permanent commitment to a stronger and more respected Africa in the Commonwealth of Nations gives us the conviction that your country, during its mandate, will contribute to the advancement of peace and stability in the world, and especially on our continent, some of which countries are still plagued by instability. My country also has the ambition to present its candidacy for the period 2021-2022 for a position of non-permanent member of the Security Council, and we hope that thanks to your support and those of the other friendly country, our country will be able to defend, like yours, the causes of peace and sustainable development both in Africa and around the world. On the same day, the President and his delegations visit the Production and Exploitation Center for Product and Gas. On his arrival, he was greeted by the leaders of this center, who welcomed him to the President and his delegation. After closing his two-day official visit to Equatorial Guinea, President Mamagele took part in the celebrations of the 15th anniversary of independence, which they survived in 1968. On this occasion, A great ceremony presided by the President Teodoro Obiang Nguema is organized on a big palace of the Malabo at the edges of the sea in the presence of the First Lady of the country and the numerous heads of state and several delegations of a friendly country. The military forces of different have organized a large military parade to celebrate the event. The armed forces of the African continent within the Chad and Congo and detachment of the Spanish and French army have paraded with the armed forces of Guinea. Veterans, civil protections, representatives of religious and cultural institutions and civil society participate in the parade broadcast live on the national television. The population came in drove to follow the military and civilian parade, very well prepared. The ceremony took place in the pouring rains and the President Gele followed the festivity of the 15th anniversary of the independence with the President Teodoro Obiang Nguema and his African peers, including the Sudanese and Burundi's president and others, before taking the directions of the airport of Malabo to return to Djibouti. Under the chairmanship of His Excellency Mr. Mohammed Ali Ahmed, the Conference of Presidents of the National Assembly was held on Thursday, October 11, 2018, in the premises of the Parliament in order to set the agenda and the date of the next plenary meeting. At this conference, the government was represented by Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed and the Minister of Defense for Relations with Parliament, His Excellency Ali Hassan Bahdoun. The Conference of Presidents has deal first of all with the transmissions to appropriate a standing committee of the pending bills, which numbers 3. After the argument of the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, the President of the National Assembly congratulated the representative of the executive who filed the various bills of finance in time. Finally, the conference then discussed the date of the public debate session, which will be held in the coming days. The Republic of Djibouti, represented by delegations led on behalf of the Head of State by His Excellency Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, Ministers of Higher Education and Research, participate actively in the meetings of 17th Conference of Head of State and Government of the countries sharing French that is currently taking place in the Yerevan in Armenia. The major event of this important summit conference was the election of a new Secretary General in the persons of the Rwandan candidate Ms. Louise Mushiki Wabu, around which was gathered a broad consensus. Our country, as country Africans members of the right, has supported without fault these candidates who allowed Africa to find the positions that came back to him as a right. The summit also endorsed the French-speaking applications within the systems of United Nations and has also registered the candidacy of Djibouti to the Security Council. This summit also approved the creation of a regional center for teaching at Djibouti in 2019. On this occasion, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed delivered an important speech during which he highlighted the interest of such a center and the singularity of our country, the only French-speaking country in the region. On the sidelines of the summit, he had the opportunity to meet the head of the delegations of Morocco, Equatorial Guinea, Romania, Estonia, and the nectars of the Francophone University Agency. The Minister of Health, Dr. Jama Al-Maukiya, received yesterday the Regional Director for East and Central Africa, Ms. Erika Ben Jensen, and of the World Food Programme representative in Djibouti, Mutinda Chimukwa. In a bipartite working meeting, the meeting took place in the Ministerial Cabinet in the presence of the Secretary General Dr. Salah Benito Trab and several directors of the department. Discussions focused on ways to further strengthen the partnership between the health department and the World Food Programme's particularity in the context of the management of acute malnutrition in Djibouti. Also, this fruitful partnership with the World Food Programme will expand on several aspects through the establishment of support systems to various cross-cutting programs such as the tuberculosis program. Finally, the two parties have agreed to set up a bipartite commission to develop monitors the activities of this strategic partnership. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, had this morning in the Cabinet an important working meeting with His Excellency Yusuf bin Hussein Al-Abadi, Ambassador of the State of Kuwait in the Republic of Djibouti. During this meeting, which was attended by the Acting Secretary General of Mr. Saleh Alwan, focused on cooperation between our two countries in the field of education. The Minister took advantage of this opportunity by reiterating the support of Kuwait in supporting the MENFOP in the project of the transformations of Djiboutian schools, and in particular the strengthening of the quality of teaching and access. The Minister of Muslims Affairs and Culture's Welfare, Waqf, His Excellency Mumin Hassan Barre, received this morning in his office the Ambassador of the People's Republic of China, credit to the Republic of Djibouti, His Excellency Zhu Ruicheng. The Minister of Muslims Affairs Cultures discussed with the Chinese diplomat various issues concerning bilateral relations and in particular the development of cooperation link in the field of culture exchange of cultural artistic event between cultural institutions between Djibouti and Beijing. The minister explained the main thrusts of the cultural policy focus mainly on the promotions of the culture and heritage of Djibouti, rich in wealth and diversity. The Chinese ambassador thanked the minister for the warm welcome he received during his courtesy visit, which will open new horizons for bilateral cooperation in the arts and culture sector. Knowledge building trainings held yesterday afternoon at the Sheraton Hotel. This training saw the participation of the senior executive of CAC International Bank, the objective being to strengthen the banking knowledge and practices of the employee of the CAC International Bank. CAC International Bank has a primary interest in training its employees. It is with this in mind that the CAC International Bank has signed a partnership with the American University of Cairo for a training that will be held for 4 days at Djibouti Sheraton Hotel. At the end of this training, employees will receive a certificate. The Social Affairs Secretariat has opened social councils in 3 municipalities of the city and in the interior regions to listen the vulnerable and special needs people. The windows offers these people their needs. This magazine was present to you by Fatuma Salah.
The fight against poverty is one of the top priorities of the President and is at the heart of his government agenda. For this, a ministry has been set up to lead this vision. The Secretary of State for Social Affairs, which is responsible for the implementation and coordination of the national policy to fight against poverty and social exclusion, has been created. For this, the Secretary of State for Social Affairs implemented at the beginning of 2017 a strategy along with an action plan which resulted in the opening of these social counters in each district but also in the region. Ticket agents are
supported by local officials who go with them and facilitate them to work, which is to register vulnerable families.
I'm part of this program who support people in deprived situation. Today I came here to the social counter to get my insurance card, and I have acquired, thank to God. In Djibouti, for example, the social workers of the Secretary of State for Social Affairs carry out investigations in the neighborhood of Balbala and Bulaos municipalities and everything from door to door regarding the household that have filed complaints and the household receiving the cash transfer. These actions aim to avoid errors of inclusion by confirming the information given by the user within the counter and thus directing household to the appropriate services. That it is about the listening, the orientation, and the collection of the grievances of the Djiboutian population, in particular of its most vulnerable fringes. Thus, in each ticket are conducted inquiries, the registration of grievances of each and every one, and the biometric registration in the present social register. Among the action of this counter are the issue of medical insurance card, the monetary transfer via telephone to vulnerable families, especially the elderly people and people with specific needs, as well as financial support for women in order to create jobs. The objective is to promote the living situation of people in deprived situation and families, but also the Djiboutian as well, to get these people out of the assistance on the spot with source of return. With this in mind, this reference instrument standardized practices in the management of the country social counter for the purpose of harmonized collection of data collected from target audiences. social counters that must ensure compliances with the requirement of equity and proximity in the fulfillment of their decentralized mission, guidance and support of the population. It is for this occasion that the Secretary State in charge of social affairs within the collaboration of the National Youth League celebrated the Elderly International Day in the city of Djibouti, especially in the two municipalities of Bulaos and Balbala. For this occasion, it is important to underline that the promotion of the elderly situation, clearly social counters are supposed to play a role of facilitators to users to whom they must provide all the necessary information during their administrative procedures. These counters are also for the Social Affairs Secretariat means to identify. These counters are also for the Social Affairs Secretariat mean of identification the most vulnerable layers through the use of social register data.
And for the international scene, Hurricane Michael death toll rose to 11 on Friday and was expected to climb higher as emergency workers search rubble and the storm screams consequences stretch. Listen to this report.
Michelle said the toll rose to 11 on Friday and was expected to climb higher as emergency workers searched rubble and the storm's grim consequences stretched from the Florida Panhandle into Virginia. Rescue teams were in the earlier stages of campaign origin raised by a Category 4 hurricane that flattened the blocks, collapsed buildings and left infrastructure crippled. Some of the hardest hit communities have yet to report any fatalities, and although the officials say they hope they will find survivors, exact calm was setting in throughout the disaster zone.
This is it for tonight news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.